Last week, the world watched one man struggle for life in the seas beneath Australia, day by agonizing day.
We're now really relying on his will to live.
In a special interview, Martin Bashir talks to a real action hero.
The next minute, I'm standing there up to here in below freezing water. I've been in yachts that have capsized, but this was snap.
Tony Bullimore, the great survivor.
I shouted out, "I'm coming out."
Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, BBC One.
Tampering with an ancient burial ground unleashes sinister forces in The X-Files in half an hour. That's after tonight's main evening news on BBC One with Peter Sissons at 9:05.
John Major's government becomes a minority government after the death of another Conservative MP. But the Prime Minister brushes off Labour calls for an election now, insisting it's business as usual. As Halewood hears the bad news, Ford's American boss spells out the strategy that meant the jobs had to go. And pressure grows to get tough with clubs where drugs are used by shutting them down. Good evening. 18 weeks before there has to be a general election, the government's ability to control events was dealt a further blow today with the death of another Conservative MP. The member for Meriden, Ian Mills, was found dead at his Westminster home, a loss that pushed the government from being level pegging with the combined opposition into a minority of one. From Westminster, our political editor Robin Oakley reports.
It was on his way to face questions in the Commons that Mr Major, elected in 1992 with a majority of 21, learned that his had become a minority government. The Tories now have fewer MPs than those of all the opposition parties combined. The loss of Meriden backbencher Ian Mills, found dead in his London flat at the age of only 56, has made the Commons arithmetic still more precarious for the government. And even before the news was known, the pre-election atmosphere was showing.
Why does he not experience a rare moment of decisiveness? Call the general election. Call it now and let us all put our arguments to the verdict of the people.
Well, that will come in due course, and I look forward to that. Campaign.
Outside the Commons, campaigning focused again on the poster punch-up, with Labour taking to the supermarket aisles, alleging that the Tories, who'd promised before the last election not to put up VAT, then done so on fuel, would slap the tax on food next time around.
The Tories say, better the devil you know. Well, we know this devil, and this is a devil that puts VAT wherever it can.
With both sides displaying all the subtlety of a Punch and Judy show, the claim was hotly denied, on site, by the aide to Tory chairman Brian Mawhinney.
We are not going to put VAT on food, and this is my present to Gordon Brown because he has made a complete monkey of himself this morning.
The death of another Tory MP won't necessarily stop ministers getting their business through. The make-up of committees considering bills won't change until after any by-election defeats. And though the government's committed to a contest soon in Wirral South, there's unlikely to be another in Meriden before a general election. But life in Parliament is getting harder. Back in November, the government survived a key vote on BSE by just one vote, and they're becoming ever more dependent on the Ulster Unionists who failed to vote with them then. Some MPs now doubt if the government can get through to May the 1st. But the last Labour minority government suffered 40 lesser defeats before it fell. Getting all the opposition ducks in a row for the confidence vote to force Mr Major into an early election may still take quite some doing. Robin Oakley, BBC News, Westminster.